question is what is God doing? When we think about the world today, it's a crazy place. Your spiritual life, your own life, your family life. Welcome to the Daily 320. Hope you're having a great day, a great weekend behind you. I encourage you that, just keep on smiling. Let's build healthy relationships, have a blast, honor God, do all the simple things. I love the comments we're getting. Katie, the picture your dad sent me, phenomenal on rest. I love the emails. Send me things you want us to talk about. But I'm so excited about what God is doing through this. One of the questions that's come up is why? Why has God allowed a pandemic? Why has God allowed this to happen? And he hasn't caused it, but why? And to answer the why, I want to hit on a couple of different things. First, I want to hit on in the creation story, it talks about that we were created in the image of God, both male and female. And I want to talk about for just a moment that we were created equal. So we're equal in creation, but we're unique in calling. And so our perspectives of how we look at chaos, confusion, pandemics, the current status of the world, we process differently because our callings are different. The calling as a husband is different than a calling as a mom. The calling of a husband is the head of the household, where the calling of the wife is to come along as a helpmate, the Bible says. And so you have this unique thing where we are equal in creation, but unique in calling, so that as we look at things, the first thing we do is we have to understand that we look at them in different perspectives. So there's no right or wrong way. There's a biblical way and a non-biblical way, but we're all going to discern them and walk through them differently. In the book of Isaiah, it says, "For my thoughts are higher than your thoughts, my ways are higher than your ways." In other words, God's saying, you won't get it. You won't get it. So I think the number one thing that we have to understand about why God is allowing us to walk through this season is he will allow us to walk through seasons that we do not get to see if we trust in his way. And it's a very easy litmus test of if you trust in his way. Are you trying to figure it all out or not? Because if you're trying to figure it out, it means that you really don't trust him. But if you're resting in him and doing what I'm going to talk about next, it means that you trust him. We're equal in creation, we're unique in calling, we all have different perspectives, and through those perspectives, we have to decide, God, what am I trying to figure out that I need to surrender to you today? I was just talking to somebody that works in the banking industry, and we were talking about the fact that everybody feels like that when we get unquarantined, everything's going to go back to normal, and it's not. It's not, because people have learned new habits, they've changed new ways, they've done things, and so we think we're going to just end this in a moment, and it's not going to end, and God's doing some new things in us. So the first question, his ways are higher, his ways are different. The first question is, what do you just need to surrender to God today and stop trying to figure out? What do you need to surrender to God today and stop trying to figure out? Because you can be the smartest person in the room, you can be the smartest person in the corporation, and you can have this title or that title. And if you study the Bible, God's not impressed with any of those things. That he used murderers, he used stutterers, he used adulterers. He's not impressed because we are equal in creation and unique in calling. And when we understand that our calling is built into our creation, then it doesn't matter what our title or education is. It matters what we do in seeking his will, which brings us to the second point. First point, what do I need to surrender to God and stop trying to figure out? Second point is this, as Jesus says, when you pray, pray this way. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So I'm going to pray to a God that's in heaven. He's bigger than any other God. My God's bigger than your God. Take that. And I'm going to worship him. That's the word hallow. We'll come back to that sometime. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And so the second thing he wants us to learn is when you're in the middle of chaos, you're not supposed to try to figure it out. You're supposed to try to get a picture of what he's doing in heaven that he wants to establish on earth. He's allowing us to walk through this confusion, this craze, this madness for a reason right now. And the question is what is the reason? And how do we establish his will here on earth? Now, I can tell you some of the reasons without getting into all the spiritual things. His reason is always grace. His reason is always hope. His reason is always the fact that Christ says, I came to make your joy complete. His reason is always a peace that surpasses understanding. His reason is always reconciliation. His reason is always giving people the benefit of the doubt. So when we're establishing things, we need to pray, thy kingdom come. So you have your list of problems you need to surrender. The second question is, what are the areas in your life today that you need to pray, Father, I pray that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as is in heaven. And make a list of those things. And when you get that list, just sit there. And maybe start sketching out how you see different things. Because many times God will do the supernatural through the most simple moments and the most simple people. And so what do you need to pray today? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Last thing, why would God allow this? I could do 20 days on this alone. In the book of Isaiah, it says, forget the former things, do not dwell on the things of the past, for I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way for you in the wilderness, and I'll make streams for you in the desert. And what God is saying is when you walk through crisis, when you walk through craziness, when you walk through uncharacteristic times, when you will trust me and forget the former things, all the great wisdom that you've come up with, and you will trust in my way, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as is in heaven. I will do a new thing. Do you not perceive it? So more than a pandemic, more than a craze thing right now, God is establishing some newness here on earth. And for something new to come, other things have to pass away. And when things pass away, many times he allows things to pass away through chaos. But he will establish a newness. And catch this, I love this verse. Do you not perceive it? He says, I'm going to make a way for you in the wilderness. I'm going to make a way for you. I'm going to put streams in the middle of the desert. I'm going to keep providing for you. My concern for so many people right now is that when we get out of the quarantine, that they'll go back to thinking life is going to be normal, and it's not. It's not. Because people have learned so many new habits. Some are great, some are bad. But the currents of reality and the currents of culture have changed through the crisis that God has allowed. And so I want to encourage you today. What do you need to surrender to God that you can't figure out? You just can't figure out. Second thing, what are the areas in your life today that you need to pray? God, I pray thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth in this. How to have an effective marriage in the middle of a crisis. How to raise a teenager, hitting on that one soon. How to whatever. And then number 3, forget the former things and do not dwell on the things of the past. What are some things that you need to let go of today? What are the hurt? What are the grudges? What are the things that came from your childhood that now are affecting the current realities? And what do you need to let go of today so that God can do anything in your life? Because he wants to do far more than you could ever imagine, guess, request in your wildest dreams. But to do it, you have to surrender your heart to him. Well, I encourage you, share this with somebody else. Go to e320leadership.com. Share the links. We want to be simple here. We want to honor God. We want to build healthy relationships. We want to have a blast, and we want to reach the world as we do it. God bless you. See you tomorrow, and have a great E320 day.